I guess it's really the afternoon, kind of an early show today. This is Saturday, a little bit different, but man, I have missed being out here. I took like a 2 week break here. It really sucked at the timing. But what happened was Wi Fi is not my friend. We're trying to get Wi Fi from the house, which is, 150, 200 foot that way. It just wasn't working well. Wasn't getting a good stream quality. And I didn't think that was fair for y'all. So I've been working my butt off. Trying to run Ethernet from the house to the building. And it's taking quite a while. Trying to get the right supplies, trying to get the right connections, trying to get it all to work. I've tried multiple things, but we are finally here. So let me know. I tried to do some housekeeping. We got some deer antlers out here. It's October, so that's maybe kind of spooky. I don't know. I was able to do an intro video, which was sweet. So definitely some different things going on there, and it's exciting. But yeah, it's been a while. I've been itching to get back in front of the camera in front of y'all doing the show. I really, really enjoy this. I want to get back to doing it hopefully several times a week again. Now that the Wi-Fi is working, now that things are streamlined, we should be money. So some current events going on in the last 2 weeks. Charlie Kirk's assassination has obviously been the top storyline for the most part. What happened to Charlie? Who killed Charlie? Many of y'all are saying, is Charlie even dead? That's always going to be the top storyline, it seems, and I'm all on it. I mean, that is one of my favorite things to talk about with y'all. Not because I am happy that he died. It obviously pained me, but it's the most accurate way of showing, hey, look, we're being lied to. And we see it so firsthand, and it's just them covering their tracks. It's the government covering the tracks. It's Turning Point USA covering their tracks, covering their butts. I can't handle it. So that's obviously been all over the news. We get new stuff every day, it feels like. And there's probably going to be a part 3 to Who Killed Charlie Kirk. I mean, I'm going to have to make another video on it and just to go over what's happened in the last couple of weeks, the news we've got. I mean, it's been a month since he passed now. Still praying for everybody involved there. Hoping for the best, honestly. So that happened. Other things that have happened, I don't know what y'all's thoughts are, but I, for the most part, believe that I have been shadow banned on Instagram. It's like all of my videos are just limited. We're up to like 75,000 followers, yet I'm getting like 5,000 views on these reels. And I don't understand it. Instagram claims I'm not shadow banned. Perhaps I'm not speaking to the algorithm. What do y'all want to hear? Let me know because I'm curious. I'm not super happy. I'm kind of frustrated with the whole thing, and that's why I'm leaning on Rumble, because Rumble's supposed to release a Reels type section, a TikTok type section. And I'm super excited for that. Since the last show, I've been banned on TikTok. I think that happened right about that time. So that was a really annoying occurrence. Then, and other things that have happened, the shadow banning potentially on Instagram. I think just viewership in general is slowly probably dropping for everybody after the Charlie Kirk, after a month of that. And that's just part of it. It's a sad breaking news headline, but that's just part of it. And I get it. So it is what it is. Who knows? Continuing on the events of the past. If you were on my last live, like I said, it feels like it's been forever. Cool things that have happened. Speaking with Candace Owens and making that connection was a super neat occurrence. I got to speak with a live witness to the Charlie Kirk assassination. We've talked multiple times on the phone. He's gave me some really valuable insight. As far as public news, stories today that we're going to dive into. We have a Qatar Air Force Base coming to Idaho. We're going to dive into that. I want to talk about just this foreign influence in general on America. Why is there so much foreign influence? I don't get it. We're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into Ivanka and Jared Kushner being shills. I'm not the happiest with them, but we're going to dive into that a little bit of Papua New Guinea. Another headline that's kind of been going around, and it's controversial because it's not even like it's really more of a race headline than it is a political headline. But Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl. My take on it, I don't like it. I don't like the guy. I think his music sucks. I think he's kind of a douchebag, just to be honest. The dude don't even stand for God Bless America. I think it's a baseball game, football game, whatever the other day. I mean, this is who we want during the Super Bowl. I mean, you could argue the Super Bowl and football is like the most American thing about entertainment in America. Like, that is America almost. And so we bring in a dude who's going to do Spanish songs and is mad at us because we don't understand them and we don't want that. I mean, I don't know. That's my take. People don't like that sometimes. I've seen both sides of it. I wanted to see Creed or somebody. Like, give us a real like Christian American band in English, but it is what it is. I'm probably not even going to watch the Super Bowl, to be honest. I mean, I don't really care that much. But yeah, let's dive into the headlines today. I mean, the big thing that happened yesterday was the Qatarian Air Force Base in Idaho. It's near Boise. I think it's like 50 miles from Boise. And my gut reaction, I went back and forth on this. My gut reaction was, I don't like this. This is sketchy. And then I said, Qatar has really been friendly to us. Maybe it's okay. Maybe we can have an alliance with them. And then I kind of circle back around. Because like I said, I battle these things. I go back and forth on my thoughts. I try to see both sides. Where I'm at currently is I don't want any influence like that in America. I don't want any other army to be stationed in America. No, this is not technically a Qatar Air Force Base. They are not necessarily building it for themselves. But what's going to happen is, supposedly they're going to pay for the housing and such, but they're going to bring in a bunch of fighter pilots here for these F-15 jets who will be stationed there and learn with the American soldiers, be in training together, because apparently they don't have airspace, which, I mean, they are a relatively small nation. I get that. A few points I think are really crucial here. One, I don't like any other nation, especially one not in a true written alliance with us, being here in the States. That goes for Singapore. Singapore has a very similar deal, and they're here in America for training. I don't agree with that. I don't like it. Why are we orchestrating that? Number two, the airspace issue. If you don't have airspace, why are you flying all the way from Qatar to America to bring your soldiers onto our soil? Whenever you have Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, you have all these countries close to you that have plenty of airspace, that you are on good terms with, that you are much closer to. It'd be much cheaper to do there. I don't like how that it sets everything up for a bad situation. Let's put it that way. You start bringing in, I think it's going to be upwards of 100, potentially hundreds, Qatarian individuals coming here to train. I sense something bad's happening. And the question then becomes, and even people who I don't agree with, like Laura Loomer said this, it's like, why are we just letting anybody come? Now, the question then becomes, Laura, if this was Israel, would you be okay with it? Obviously not. Well, she would be, but we wouldn't be. So if we're not okay with it being Israel, if we're not okay with it being China, why Qatar? Why give and take with some of these nations? If anybody, some of our European allies I could get behind. I wouldn't mind it. But Qatar? Like I said, we've been more diplomatic. They were extremely crucial in the Gaza ceasefire. And that was something I appreciated that they did, was helping orchestrate that. It is still weird. Like, why weren't we talking to the actual Palestinians? Why are we talking to Qatar and going through Qatar to get peace with Israel? But at least it happened. They were influential in that, and I'm for that. So I'll give them props. I'll give them credit where credit is due there. But regardless, we have let so many foreign nations come and influence America, send in hundreds, thousands of people to America. This is the same with Israel. Really, it's funny because Qatar and Israel kind of butt heads in a way. Qatar was very pro-Palestine. Israel was obviously pro-Israel. And so you kind of see two sides of the same script, and then there's some of us who are standing back saying, whoa, I'm America first. I don't want Qatar here. I don't want China here. I don't want Israel here. Why are we bringing in their military operatives? Because what you're setting yourself up for is you're setting yourself up for a catastrophic occurrence. Is it also weird that we're training more and more fighter jets for them, is that a sign that potentially war is incoming? I mean, I think we're on the brink of war. We see what's happening in Venezuela. Venezuela is, the president of No New Wars is about to invade, it's about to attack. So could war be on the horizon? Possibly. Look at Iran, they're pissed off. Look at Russia, Ukraine, both of them are pissed off. There is war raging everywhere, even with the ceasefire in Israel and Gaza. So could this be a sign of war incoming? Potentially. That's why there's increased training. But back to the foreign influence thing. I mean, why? We already know Israel runs our government. We already know that. I mean, AIPAC runs rampant. We already know those things. So what is the excuse for anybody, for that matter? What is the excuse? That's what is really kind of hitting me the wrong way. I don't understand how we can claim to be America first, make America great again, and we stand on American values. Yet we don't actually stand up for it. Like, we allow these people to come in, and here's what happens. This is with all immigration. The last 75 years, we've seen people come in. A lot of them have come legally. And then they have babies. And because of birthright citizenship, which I don't agree with, now they're Americans. By the hundreds of thousands, this has happened. And then the culture shifts. And we're no longer truly American. We're Mexican, or we're Canadian, or we're Indian, or we're Chinese, or we're Korean, British, whatever, whoever comes here. Is that the American value? White, black, Hispanic, I don't care who it is, but you bring it in other countries and then they wave their own flag. That pisses me off more than anything. Waving your old country's flag in America. You see this a lot with Hispanics. You see it a lot with the Palestine rallies. I don't really agree with that. You're in America. You're supposedly proud to be an American, yet you're waving your old country's flag? That is foreign influence. Look at Ilhan Omar. She's Somalian? A Muslim from Somalia? She comes here, she runs for Congress. What do you think her priority is going to be? First off, her citizenship should be revoked. She married her brother in order to become a citizen. The whole thing is jacked up. But what do you think her first inclination is going to be? To America, if she gets in Congress, or to Somalia? She's going to do what's best for her people. And we see this influx in America. That's one of the biggest problems, is this foreign influence. And it's not even directly always from lobbying groups. A lot of it is. AIPAC is a big issue. Israel lobbies are a big issue. Other lobbies are issues. I think we should ban lobbying. No, our congressmen and women should not be paid by people to do what they want. That's stupid. But a lot of this foreign influence isn't just coming there. It's coming whenever we allow mass amounts of migration into the United States. Potentially at this point over 100 million total, if you count offspring and such. And then they stand for their old country. They don't identify as American. They identify as Mexican American, or African American, or British American, or Canadian American, or Japanese American, or Korean American, or whatever it may be. They stand for those values. It's like a dual citizenship almost. It's the same issue we have with Israel. Israel is behind a lot. I'm not excusing them. I still have major issues with them. But it's the same exact thing. Maybe not as extreme. So why are we okay with that? You got this kid, Brian Hollyhan, whatever his name is. He's at these college campuses pushing for immigration. And it's like, come on, dude. You're saying this is a melting pot. Do you know who coined that term? It was a Jewish dude. This great melting pot. That's what they wanted to do, is mix it all up so that the American value isn't American anymore. Because once they do that, America becomes weak. And it really allows, once you start integrating all these views into America, all these different, you're trying to accept all these ideologies, it becomes easier to accept the Jewish one. Really and truly, that was why it got pushed. Because it became more mainstream to accept this Jewish push, this Jewish narrative. That's not what America is. Nobody is identifying truly as American. Like I said, they're pushing their own beliefs. And that's what irks me. And the issue we see now is we can't go back. We cannot rewind 75 years and go back to true America. And I don't even necessarily mean this from purely a race perspective, because when it comes to race, if you identify as American and you act in a somewhat classy manner, You don't act like trash of any race, whites included. I'm not trying to be racist there, but whenever you act in a good manner, I don't mind having you here. If you're going to identify as American, you're going to act civilized. Those are good values. You're going to work hard. But we'll go back 75 years. If we could go back 75 years and stop this crazy mass migration that happened, like I said, probably 100 million plus total now, you would see true American values. But now we're at the point where we're three generations down the road. And how do you tell somebody, well, you're not an American 3 generations in? That, and with birthright citizenship, they are citizens. They're, second generation citizens, I guess you could say. Even fourth now, you're probably seeing. You can't do that. You can't deport them. I mean, that's absolutely inhumane. So we have to find a way to reunite America based on American values, where people say, no, I'm not Mexican American. No, I'm not Canadian American. No, I'm not Japanese American or African American. I am American. I stand for this country, America. They're not waving their own country's flag over here. No, their own country's flag is America. That's what it is. It's the United States. But we don't see that right now. This foreign influence is coming in, and they act on behalf of their own people. And maybe part of it is a familial representation. I'm sure there are several people here who have migrated and had their children and generations into America, and they still have family, in Mexico or in Canada or in Africa, or wherever they may have came from. And, they feel for those people. And I do too. And it's sad. I agree. I made this point on my Instagram. I really do hate that these countries are worse off than America, but that doesn't give them the right to be here when it comes to migration of any kind. It does not give them a right. It's still a privilege. We still have to take care of America first. That's the first and foremost thing. The people of America first. Because if we don't do that, we lose America. I also made this point. Look at what's happening in Texas and in Florida. You have all of these Californians, all of these New Yorkers, they're flooding to these places because, oh, look, the cost of living's low. Oh, look, everybody seems to be happy here. They overrun the cities. They bring their left-wing ideologies and beliefs and political things with them. And then they wonder why, well, now this is a blue state, or getting there. It's at least a blue city in many of the places, and they don't like it anymore. They wonder why it's not as good as it once was. Maybe you should see what's happening there. Maybe you should make the connection that it's the blue, it's the liberal belief system. And it starts little by little, right? It starts little by little, just like the income tax did. It starts as something small, and then it grows, and it grows, and it grows. And then next thing you know, we're paying more in taxes right now than the Israelites in the Old Testament did when they were in slavery to Egypt. They paid 25% total. That was slavery. It was 25% of what they made, earned, grew, went to the Egyptians, and they were considered slaves. We're paying close to 50% whenever you calculate everything up. Sales tax and property tax and income tax, all those things. The tax to drive your car. We're paying close to 50%, most of us. Some of us, many more. California, God help, y'all are paying 70% or more for many of y'all. And then we don't understand that we're slaves. It's the same premise. It starts slow, and it just slowly grows. That's what's happened in these states. That's what's happened in America as a whole when it comes to other ideologies coming in, mass migration and such. And that's why I don't stand for that. In my opinion, the border needs to be fully closed for at least 10 years. We got to figure some stuff out here in America first before we start letting other people come in and trying to help these other countries, whether that's refugees or that's just people wanting to immigrate. We got to shut it down. We got to get the illegal people out, whatever race they are, and we got to get control of this country. Figure some stuff out. Get some policies straight. Figure out the budget. My God, the government's still shut down. Soldiers still aren't getting paid. So we got to figure that stuff out. Now, diving back into the whole Israel thing, did y'all see the pictures of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump kissing on the wall? They were all over it this week. I think it was yesterday this actually happened. Is that not like the gayest thing you can think of? Kissing that wall? It's just weird. It's not biblical. It's not even of the Torah to go kiss the wall. It's really just a traditional thing. But what I don't get is whenever I think technically Kushner's a Jew, but You see it with Marco Rubio. You've seen it with Trump. You see it with all these presidents, many of them claiming to be Christians. They put on the hat and they go kiss the wall. And it's like, what? What homage are you paying? And it's really, I've made the joke, it's like a cucking ceremony. It's like, what are you doing? Cucking ritual. Why are you doing that? And it's because they're paid off. They go kiss the wall. Erica Kirk did it. Even Charlie Kirk did it many years ago. And I don't like that. It's like, this is what we're promoting? Another nation? I spoke on that with the whole 50 states, one Israel thing. Just blatantly disrespectful and a blatant slap in the face to the United States. It's like, no. Your 50 states, y'all serve us as Israel. That's what they were saying. And we see it. Look at the politicians, man. They go over there in droves, kissing the wall, putting on the hat, taking the money, taking the free trip. Look how great Israel is. Oh, my God. No, it's I can't even describe how angry that makes me. I love the meme, let's go make them put on a cowboy hat and kiss the Bass Pro Pyramid. Like, let's do that in America. Let's start instituting some of the same things when people come visit us. Yeah, go these Qatar people, these Qatarians, get them to put on a cowboy hat and kiss the Bass Pro Pyramid. They won't like that very much. We wouldn't have a military base in Idaho probably if all of them had to go do that. But yeah, we do it just willingly almost with their little wall over there. So I'm not a fan of that. Y'all know my views there. And one more thing we'll hop into. Papua New Guinea with some groundbreaking news. They are now officially, governmentally, a Christian nation. It's in their constitution. The Bible is considered like absolute holy government thing. What a great thing to have. We're getting close to a Christian theocracy there. Now, I'm not going to say Papua New Guinea is one of the best places in the world to live right now. It's probably not. But what a great thing. What if America adopted some of these things? We truly became a Christian nation as we were founded. Yes, we were founded that way, a Christian nation. That's why God is in our Constitution. That's why we built everything off of the premise of God. What if we went back to that? What if we did these things with the Bible, with saying you had to be a Christian to serve in government? That's what I want. I want only Christians in government. If you won't proclaim Christ, you cannot be a congressman. That would be ideal to me, a Christian theocracy. I don't think it'll happen because there's so much diversity from some of the other things we talked about earlier in America, but it would be sweet if it could. That's all I got to say. That's what I would push for. But like I said, I don't think it'll ever happen. Not in America, at least. Maybe if there was some sort of civil war or some sort of break off, some sort of divide, maybe you see a smaller version of that happen. I don't think this country as a whole will ever do it, even though that would be my ideal form. And that's why you kind of have to work around things. I think a lot of people believe that way. I could see Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene believing that way, but they understand it can't happen. You have to live in the real world and not the utopia we dream of. And so they make it happen however they can with their positions they've been given. And that's why I love both of them. I support both of them. Many of you know Marjorie is my representative, so I'm a big fan of her. And I think that's the script we have to follow for at least right now. People are waking up. In the meantime, we don't have a movement where you can just let's overthrow the government, institute a Christian theocracy. There is not a big enough movement for that. You're also going to get convicted of treason if you support that and you don't win. So grow right now as you can, like they have. Get government positions. Gain influence where you can. Try to influence people because people are waking up. There's a new party in Idaho, the Restorative Party. I've been following closely with them. Really happy with them. They say we're not Democrat, we're not Republican, we're the Restorative Party, we're anti-Israel. They stand for some really good things. I'm very happy with them. Let's get that movement growing. Let's grow that movement and organize. My favorite quote right now. My favorite quote is, an organized minority will always beat an unorganized majority. Organization is what's key. That's why Israel and the Jews have controlled so much for so long worldwide. Because they organize. They have this organization, this transnational organization. That's incredible, honestly. We can compliment them on that. Imagine if Christians did that. We infight so much we can't accomplish anything. Just off the rip, you have Catholicism, Orthodoxy, and Protestantism, who all want to butt heads, don't want to group up. And then you take Protestant, well, I guess both the other two have splits of their own. Then you take Protestantism, and you have a million denominations, and they want to talk trash on one another, which is, within Christianity, this is against what Paul says in 1 Corinthians. He's like, why is there so much division amongst you? Just serve Christ. And it's all secondary issues, and there's like-mindedness arguments. I get that. But we don't band together as Christians like the Jews do, even like the Muslims do for that matter. We don't. We fight one another. If we would band together, I think we would see a whole lot of stuff. If we would actually organize ourselves worldwide, we would see some great things happen. Not only would people come to Christ, but we would see some great political things happen. But instead, we want to butt heads. We don't want to organize. We want to be laid back and sit back because we think that Christ told us that we have to be some sort of laid back and get slapped around type thing. That's not what he was saying. But I digress. But that's all I got for y'all tonight. We're almost at 30 minutes. Not too bad of a show there. I knew it was going to be a rather quick one. But I appreciate y'all. Smash the follow button down below on Rumble. Follow the channel. Follow the YouTube. Follow the Instagram. Stay active. I love talking to y'all. I love seeing what y'all have to say. I love diving into all this stuff. Stay active with me, honestly. Because, I can't do this without y'all. I truly can't do this. I'm so appreciative for the people that follow this, that push this. I try to bring y'all the best news that I can, the most honest news that I can. So I hope y'all have a great night. One thing I forgot. If you don't follow Jesus, Jesus loves you, honestly. What he did for me, he changed my life. I mean, I went from somebody who, I was saved when I was little, and I truly believe that I accepted Christ, but I strayed away when I got older. And not that I lost my salvation. I don't believe in that, but I did stray away from God. And he drew me back in. And he brought me such amazing peace, such amazing direction, saved me from myself and my flesh. And that's just the earthly reward. I got an amazing wife. I truly believe is a gift from God. I have an amazing, job. I have an amazing life. Truly, I think they're all gifts from God. But those are earthly things. What's even better than that is the eternity I get with him. The eternity I get from God. True damnation is you lose the presence of God in your life. But we never have to worry about that as Christians. We get an eternity with him, and I pray that you accept Christ if you haven't. I truly do. He loves you. Jesus came down. God sent his only son, Jesus, down to earth to die on a cross for you and rise again on the third day. It was a perfect fulfillment of the Old Testament as a perfect sacrifice for your sins. If you don't know Jesus, I pray you accept him. Reach out to me if you don't know him. But that's all for tonight's show. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Like I said, though, follow the Rumble, follow on Instagram, follow on YouTube, follow wherever, as I hopefully get to go live more. I'm hoping to keep diving in, going live more. Now that the Wi-Fi's fixed, now we have a setup. But anyways, I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great night.